Welcome to Living Beyond Limits and our Sunday service. So glad that you showed up today. Let's start our service by reading our mission statement that's on the front of the bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. That's what we are each doing here at Living Beyond Limits, is we are giving ourselves the opportunity to remember that, yes, indeed, that presence of the Infinite One, that is a presence of love and peace and goodness and wholeness and power and life, that is the very essence of our own beingness. That is the essence of our spirit. That is what we have come from and what we come as and what we bring into this world. What happens is, as we awaken to our own divine nature, as we awaken to the fact that wherever we go in that presence, and with that presence, that we can never be separate or apart from it, it is then that puts us in a place of power. It is then that it puts us in a place of choice so that we are not such victims to what is going on in the world, because when the world isn't being loving or kind or generous, we aren't reliant on that happening out there in order to be that in here and in order to bring that into the world. We're able to bring peace or love or kindness or generosity to this world that needs it, that's hungering and thirsting for that, when we remember that, yes, indeed, that infinite presence is within us. And so I thank every single one of you for answering the call of your own spirit to be walking this path, to be bringing your light into this world in a way that heals and soothes and makes whole. Thank you for that. Well, good morning again. Have you ever noticed how relaxed and peaceful you feel when you're on vacation? Do you ever find yourself saying, gosh, I want to go on vacation just so you can be peaceful and relaxed? You know, one of those things that happens when we go on vacation is not only do we let go of all of our responsibilities, but we also let go of all of our worries and our concerns and the things that are incomplete and the things that aren't done, especially those worries and concerns. You know, maybe something like, you know that you're going to need a new roof on your house, and you're worried about, you don't know who's going to do it or when it's going to happen or getting the right bid, and you have all these concerns that you keep thinking about. Or maybe you have a large upcoming bill that you're going to have to pay, and you're not quite sure how you're going to pay that. Maybe there's an issue happening at your job, or maybe you're having some sort of a conflict with a family member, or maybe it's just some kind of a difficult conversation that you're going to have. But what we do is we keep thinking about that stuff and worrying about that stuff and being concerned about that stuff. But when we go on vacation, we leave that behind. You know, it's so easy to feel worried and concerned when things aren't resolved, when we don't know how we're going to solve something or how it's going to unfold or if it's going to come to fruition. And so going on vacation is wonderful for many different reasons. And I love to go on vacation. But underneath that desire to go on vacation because you're stressed out is really the desire to resolve the things that are unresolved in your life. There's an underneath desire that really is wanting to solve that which hasn't been solved. We want to move through our days with a sense of peace and ease and well-being. And when we go on vacation, we give ourselves permission to do that. We let go of all of those things that we are concerned about, at least for a little while we're gone. And in turn, then we feel peaceful and at ease. We have a sense of well-being. And not only that, but we also have a sense of joy and a sense of lightness. Well, what if you could let go of your worries and your concerns and your fears and your doubts without going on vacation? What if you could let go of those things even when things aren't resolved, even when you don't yet know how something's going to turn out? And what if you could do it every single day? What would it take? I think for me it would take trusting life in order to let go of that worry and concern. I think it would take believing that my good is at hand even when I can't yet see it. I think it takes having faith in that infinite creative intelligence of the universe that permeates all things, that is expressing itself as life itself, and that is expressing itself as your life, right now and all of the time. I think it takes leaning into and knowing that that presence, that infinite presence, is capable of creating your desired outcome. That it is capable of creating harmony and order and peace and the good that you seek. And so Ernest Holmes, the founder of this philosophy, said, "The will of God for you is the will of boundless life flowing through you. It is the will of joy, success, of happiness, of abundance. It is the will of the kingdom of heaven, not absent from earth, but imperfectly seen." We are seeing our problem. We are seeing that which is unresolved, as opposed to seeing that invisible, infinite intelligence and possibility and potentiality that is permeating all things. And so we don't see the resolution. We don't see how it's going to come into fruition. So sometimes what happens is we just simply believe that it must not be ours, or we worry that it's not going to be ours. We worry and we fret and we think that we have to figure it out all in our own little limited human mind and figure it out from that place and resolve it all from right there. From our own human limited resources. Ernest Holmes says the answer to your problems lie not in God's willingness, but in your ability to believe. The answers lie in your ability to believe. The problem is that we get so mesmerized by this material world, and then we think that it is ultimate reality. We think that it is the ultimate power, and that it is power, and that it has power, and that it has power over us. We get mesmerized by this because it seems so darn real and permanent and solid and seems like the only thing that's going on. But we forget in those moments that our consciousness is creative, that our thoughts and our beliefs and our attitudes are the thing that draw to us or repel from us according to what we hold in consciousness, according to what it is we most deeply believe, what it is that we most deeply expect, what we believe to be the truth about life and the truth about ourselves. So let me give you an example. If you have a consciousness that is filled with love and acceptance and kindness, what's going to happen? You're going to attract friends. You're going to attract, people will be attracted to you, and you will attract lots of people to you in your life. But if you are angry and mistrusting and miserable, those kind and loving people will not be attracted to you. In fact, they will run from you, because we attract what we are like in our lives. We attract what it is that we believe and think about and focus on, the general atmosphere of our consciousness. Does it happen 100% of the time? No, there are outliers, but does it happen most of the time that you would attract people to you that are friendly and loving or repel them? Certainly it happens most of the time. It's just like if we are grateful, when we are grateful, we experience more things for which to be grateful. If we are grateful, we are open to all of the good that's in life. But on the other hand, if we are unappreciative, we actually experience less things to be grateful for. I was at a restaurant one day, and it was Thanksgiving week, and there were these 4 men sitting at a table next to us, and one of them was saying to the other ones, I don't get this Thanksgiving thing. I mean, what do I have to be grateful for? Everything in my life that I have, I've made it happen. And I thought, oh my gosh, how about being grateful for the fact that you have electricity in your house? How about being grateful for the fact that somebody built the house that you're in? Or somebody made the mattress that you sleep on at night? Or the fact that you have heat in your house? Or the fact that you live in this country that you just happen to be born in that has all the freedoms and opportunities that you have? The thing is, our attitude creates our experience. Our attitude then draws more to be grateful. He wasn't experiencing gratitude for any of those things, didn't even see them as things to be grateful for because of his attitude. So our attitude and our beliefs and our focus open us to the good that is already present in this infinite universe in which we live. When we have faith and trust in the good, we open ourselves to opportunities. We open ourselves to wonderful things might happening, to fortuitous events. We open ourselves to good fortune. And so at my house this week, Colleen had her car broken into in the middle of the night. And it was a smash and grab. They smashed the back driver's side window and grabbed stuff out of her car. You're never going to believe what it is they took out of her car. Her parents' ashes that she brought home that day. Needless to say, she was incredibly upset. And so, we talked, and it's like, why don't you go walk around and see? Because who wants someone's ashes that they don't know? She looks around. There was actually a little baggie of little bit left over her brother's ashes, too, which she found. So she talked to the mailman and told him to keep his eye out. And she called the police just in case someone turned them in so that they would know. And she put it out on the Nextdoor app. And she walked the neighborhood. And the whole time she was walking the neighborhood, she was absolutely having faith that the universe is conspiring for me to get these ashes back. Whether that's through her brothers, whose ashes were there helping lead her. She's saying, show me the way, lead me, tell me where these are. But she's in faith, not in worry, fear, and doubt, but in faith. These are going to somehow find me. Lo and behold, about 3 hours later, Mackenzie Mortuary calls her and says, we have your dad's ashes. The box of ashes said Mackenzie Mortuary and had her dad's name on the top of the box. So she finds out where these ashes were found and drives over there. It's in another neighborhood, and starts looking for her mom's ashes. Lo and behold, she sees the bag that they were in down the street, and so she parks and gets out and starts walking, and about a block later, she finds her mom's ashes in the gutter up against the curb. That's incredible. So here's a crazy thing. So Colleen, being the person that she is, did a reverse search on the woman's phone number and found out where she lived. She didn't even live on that street. She was driving down the street that morning, and that box of ashes were in the very center of the 4-lane street. And her husband was driving. They drove past him, and she said, stop, you have to turn around. That's someone's ashes that are in the street. That box looks just like the box that my mom's ashes are in. So this woman, Colleen, goes to her house that night, brings her an orchid to thank her for finding these ashes. Of course, ends up visiting for 45 minutes. And sure enough, her mother's ashes are in a box in her living room because she always wanted to be in the center of everything that was going on and part of the activity even after she was gone. What are the chances of that happening? But that's what happens when we trust. We open ourselves to the possibilities. We open ourselves to the good. We attract to us according to our belief and repel from us what we don't believe. So when we doubt and when we fret and when we worry, we close ourselves off from the possibilities. It's kind of like putting on really dark, thick glasses. You can't see through them. You can't even see the possibilities that are available when you have those dark glasses on. It's not like something magic happens. It's we can't even see the things that are there. And so Ernest Holmes says, the very denial of your good keeps that good from you. Our denial of the possibility keeps it from us. And so for me lately, when I have been fretting about something that has not yet shown a solution, that I don't yet know the way forward, I have been using the affirmation, I place my affairs in the hands of goodness. I place my affairs in the hands of goodness. Why don't you say that with me? I place my affairs in the hands of goodness, trusting goodness to unfold. Let's say it one more time. I place my affairs in the hands of goodness. And I know sometimes when we're stuck someplace in our lives, we do affirmative prayer, we use our affirmations, and we expect instant gratification. And if we don't get instant gratification, if it's not resolved immediately, we give up. But you know what? We are just so used to that instant gratification, but that's not really the way things work. Yet, think about it, how we are so used to instant gratification. We couldn't even bear to sit through dial-up internet these days. Do you remember that? Wah, wah, wah. You'd have to sit there. We don't want to take an hour to make a lovely dinner when we can just take a pre-packaged meal and throw it in the microwave. We DVR the television programs that we like because we couldn't bear to sit through a commercial. I mean, we are used to instant. We want what we want, when we want it, and we want it now. And when that doesn't happen, sometimes we just throw in the towel too soon. But you know what? It takes time to change your beliefs. It takes time to rearrange your thinking. It takes time really to change your subconscious beliefs. And those are the ones that are running you all of the time. It doesn't happen, unfortunately, just by saying your affirmation 10 times. That doesn't change your deeply held beliefs. It's a process. The affirmations and affirmative prayer are a tool. And you know what? I can do affirmative prayer and shift my thinking, and it's so much better, and I'm so relieved. That doesn't mean that I don't pick that problem back up sometime down the road, though. It takes time to change our beliefs. But our unbelief obscures our view of capital R reality. That unbelief allows us not to be able to see it. It's kind of like imagine that there's a painting on your wall. And it's a beautiful landscape painting, and there's a tree, and there's a house, and there's a beautiful river of water that's flowing down in the picture, and there's a beautiful meadow right next to it. And in the background, there are mountains and a sky that's dotted with white clouds. It's beautiful. It's pristine. And now imagine that you take Vaseline and you smear it all over the glass. That's what happens because of our unbelief. That's what happens with our worry and our fret. We can't see the ultimate reality. We can't see the picture because our beliefs aren't letting us see what is true. The picture's still there. Nothing has happened to it. Nothing has changed it. It's as beautiful and as pristine as ever. but we can't see it because of our beliefs in front of it. So our job then is to clean the Vaseline off the glass so that we can see what is true. Our job is to dissolve our limiting beliefs, our limiting concepts, our limiting ideas and attitudes so that we can see the spiritual reality that is limitless, that is a realm of goodness, that is absolute possibility, that is brimming with intelligence and creativity. That's the life we're living. So our faith and our trust and our belief doesn't create the good in our lives. What it does is it allows us to discover the good. You know, if Colleen didn't believe that those would be returned to her, she wouldn't have put it out on Nextdoor app. She wouldn't have talked to the mailman. She had this belief. So it didn't create what happened, but it opened her up to what could possibly happen. Our belief aligns us vibrationally with what it is that we want. It creates a space inside of us so that that good can take up residence in our lives and in us. So the title of my talk today is Hold On. And I'm talking about when we are steadfast in our faith, when we are steadfast in our faith in the good alone, we open a way for that good to manifest itself in our lives. Our good lies not in Spirit's willingness to give us what it is that we desire, but it lies in our ability to believe. So let's use that as an affirmation. I have steadfast faith and confidence in the good alone. I have steadfast faith in confidence in the good alone. I have confidence in the good alone. Good is seeking to unfold itself as your life. And so Ernest Holmes says, keep right on knocking at the door of your consciousness until every no becomes a yes, every negation an affirmation, every fear a faith. You cannot fail if you remain steadfast. Finally, the fetters of bondage will drop from you. You will walk out of your self-imposed prison only to discover that the door was never really locked and the windows actually never barred. You were bound merely by the chains of your unbelief. You cannot fail if you remain steadfast. Will you say that with me? I cannot fail if I remain steadfast. Let's say it again. I cannot fail if I remain steadfast. That is the truth. And so through our spiritual practice, we recognize that capital T truth. Through our spiritual practice, we come to recognize that divine presence in all things, that one power that is omnipresent. But I don't know about you, but it takes me reminding myself daily. It takes me doing daily spiritual practice to remember that truth. If I don't do it, I'm likely to fret and to worry and to focus on the negative and to think it's not going to ever happen when upheavals or things that are unsettled in my life. Ask Colleen. By nature, I'm probably a little worrier. It takes the practice. You all know we're wired for a negative focus in our lives. We're hardwired. It takes work to stay in faith. It takes work to trust and to see beyond what is in this material world. It takes me doing affirmative prayer. And even more than that sometimes is reading the writings of spiritual masters who have this nailed. Right now I'm reading the book This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes. It is fantastic. All of these quotes today were from that book. It reminds me of what I forget. It reminds me of what I forget, and it shifts my energy. It shifts my expectations. It shifts my view about life, which opens me to receive. So the cause of lack in our lives does not come from spirit. The cause of lack is our incomplete perception of the truth of abundance, the abundance that fills everything. It's an incomplete perception of the spiritual truth and fact of abundance. It's us not quite realizing it. Illness does not come from spirit. Illness comes from an incomplete perception of the truth of wholeness, the truth of this law of order that we live in. It comes from an incomplete perception of our oneness with that creative principle of life. Evil or meanness does not come from spirit. It comes from an incomplete perception of that person's own wholeness, that person's perception of the love that they are, that they're not seeing that. It's an incomplete perception of love, an incomplete perception of the reality of good that is the nature of life. And so my invitation to you this week is to know that you are never limited. You're never limited by your current experience or by what has happened to you in the past. Know instead that the will of Spirit for you is success and joy and thriving. That's what you're here on planet Earth to do. Remain steadfast. Know that it takes time to change your beliefs, but stay steadfast in doing your spiritual practice, in using your affirmations, in doing what it is that you need to do to change your consciousness so that you are able to see the truth to a greater degree. It takes time to change old limiting beliefs. But as all you're doing is changing incomplete perceptions of the capital T truth. That's all you're doing. So take time daily to do spiritual practice. How often? Daily. Take time daily to do some sort of spiritual practice, to bring yourself back to center, to get yourself out of your yapping mind that's telling you the story about how you can't or it won't. Do spiritual practice every day. Read, pray, meditate, take a class, come here, commune with the divine in whatever way works for you. And as a result of that, the good has a greater opening to unfold so that it may unfold itself through your life and through you. So blessings to all of you on this path of remembering who you are, this path of giving way to spirit and to living this life of spirit. Blessings to all of you. And so I invite you to join me in an affirmative prayer as we turn our attention to the truth. And the truth is that there is only one. There is only one power. There is only one presence. There is only one life. There is only one beingness, one energy, and it is that thing we call spirit, the divine itself, the creator of the cosmos, the orchestrator of all things, infinite creativity, boundless potential, unending good that is continuously, endlessly pouring itself forth as creation, pouring itself forth as every new idea, pouring itself forth as every new life, every new plant or flower, the changing weather. All of it is this divine intelligence and power of good. And so I recognize that indeed we are individuations of this presence, individualized expressions of the one, for it is the only thing that there is, and it is the only thing that we could possibly be. And so since we are the essence of that divine one, what I recognize then is all those things that are true of spirit are already true about us. endless good lives within us. The power of the cosmos resides within us. Absolute intelligence, perfect love, wholeness, peace, order. What is true of the one is true of us, for we are indeed the microcosm of the macrocosm. And so today we turn our attention to that one, the one life, the one good, and open within ourselves a way so that it might flow into our lives as the fulfillment of our desires. We turn in trust, in confidence, in faith, in openness to the good of life, knowing that it is indeed seeking to express itself in us and through us and as us. And so not only is this the truth about us, but this is also the truth about every single person on this planet. Therefore, I know that that presence is also within each and every person. And that right now it is flowing forth as the culmination of whatever it is that they have been needing, wanting, desiring. For it flows with ease, unobstructed, ever-flowing. I speak this word also about every single world leader, every politician, every decision maker, every person in government, knowing that the absolute intelligence of spirit lives within them. And that right now, as I speak this word, it is growing, it is becoming larger, it is filling everything within their minds, within their thoughts, within their bodies. And that intelligence that guides the planets in their orbits is the intelligence that is guiding each one of them right now into creating a world that works for everyone. For we are all a part of this kingdom, all family, all heirs to this one. And therefore, I know that they are on purpose. Spirit reveals itself as perfect decisions, as absolute clarity, as that which allows humanity and this planet to thrive. And so it is with a grateful heart that I release this prayer into the law that reflects back to us exactly what we believe. And so we lean into these words of truth and open ourselves to their unfolding. And so I release this word, and I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. And so I have a couple of invitations for you. One is the 23rd of this month. This is already June? No, it's May. The 23rd of June, which is the fourth Sunday in June, we're going to be doing Sunday service in the park and have a picnic afterwards. So we don't have a sign-up sheet, but I'll have sign-up sheets next week, so I just wanted you to put that on your calendar. And then the last Sunday of next month, we are actually going to have a pancake breakfast combined with the community outreach. And so our community outreach that we're doing is writing cards for people that are living in the convalescent home, for men and women. And the pancake breakfast is going to be a fundraiser, and we're going to let you set the price of your own ticket. So we invite you to bring your friends, bring your family, come join us on the fifth Sunday, and we'll have a good time. And I think we'll have a sign-up sheet for that next week, too, so we can just determine how many people are going to be here. We are looking for a new home. They have raised our rent here by $100 a week. We were already paying more than what we're bringing in. I personally don't like to live like that. I like to live within my means. So I wanted to put it out there to all of you. If any of you, I've already looked at like 4 different locations, and they haven't been it yet, but I know that it's happening. I know that there is a way forward. So I invite all of you to, 1, keep that in your prayers, and 2, if you have any ideas or suggestions of places for us to look, you can talk with me or any of our board members if you have any ideas. Pat and Mike are still doing their homeless project. If you would like to join them, there is a sign-up sheet in the back, or talk with them about it. We have prayer support after service. If you would like prayer, the practitioners are happy, will you raise your hand if you're a practitioner, to sit down and pray with you for the fruition of whatever it is that you would like to have in your life. We have a ministry of prayer box in the back. You can fill out a request, and we will support you during the week. We have prayer shawls that have been created in the energy of prayer. If you would like to take one and gift it to someone or yourself who wants to be wrapped in that energy of prayer, the practitioners are happy to pray over it for your desired outcome, and then you can take that and gift it to yourself or to someone else. Last invitation is just to follow us on our social media accounts, all of which are on your invitations here, to like us on Facebook, and to share our Instagram posts. That's how you build a following and find new people. And so I invite you to repeat after me, good fills my life now. Good fills my life now. I open myself to it. I celebrate it. I own it. I am it. And so it is.